also known as soft-sits, believe you don't need to pay taxes. You don't have to pay child support. You don't need a driver's license. They believe if you declare sovereignty, you become immune to illegal consequences, legal consequences. They believe the U.S. has a secret constitutional amendment that you aren't supposed to know about, and we hope to get some calls about this today. If you are tempted to join the sovereign citizen movement, call us because the show is starting right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Truth Wanted. I am your host, Objectively Dan. This is the live call-in show that happens every single week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we talk to people about what they believe and why. If you'd like to call us, you can do that. It's 512-991-9242, or you can call through your computer at tiny.cc/calltw. Truth Wanted is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. We'd also like to welcome our new viewers watching today on Twitter and Twitch. And of course, giving all the love to the folks watching us from YouTube as usual. And I have, of course, a special guest like I always do every week. This week, not so special, though, because it is Johnny P. Angel, of course. Johann Pachelbel Angel is right. His legal name. That's right. Johnny P. Going for short. Johnny P. Angel, welcome back.
It's great to be back, Dan. And it's been a while since When did we do this show last? It's been some time. It's been too long.
We've hosted Talk Heathen together, other sister show on the Atheist Community of Austin. But on Truth Wanted, it's been a minute. You're also like phasing through time right now. It's kind of crazy. You're like, you got like the PlayStation 2 background.
I do,
except with like color. It's kind of rad.
I do. I'm like on an interstellar journey.
Yeah.
And as we were saying beforehand, I don't know what's going on. I think that I'm having a 0.2 millicochrane phase variance, and I don't have any kind of a EPS rerouting device of any kind to fix it. So I'm sorry for your eyes at home.
That's okay.
On the other hand, I'm not in focus, so you're welcome.
There is that. Yeah. When I'm really glad you're here today, Johnny, because we have a very particular topic we were going to be talking about today, and a particular caller that we're going to get to in just a second. But before we do that, of course, we got to talk about some things. Of course, we always have to go through the We Want the Truth segment. This is our response to the comments. Now, I'm very, very, very excited about this one, Johnny, because last week's We Want the Truth prompt was, without being abusive, roast Objectively Dan. And I didn't pick the answers for this. Somebody else did. It is in my script right now. It is redacted. I'm about to remove the redactions so I can see what they say. I'm reading this for the very first time. I'm very excited. Are you ready for this, Johnny?
Yeah, but are you ready for this?
I don't know that I don't know that I am.
What you wish for, bub?
Here it is. Okay. Yeah. Our comment number 3, our number 3 pick from last week comes from Mark McGee, who says, if we're roasting Objectively Dan, or for roasting Dan, all we have to do is place him outside on a cloudy day for half an hour without any sunscreen lotion. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's not too bad.
He's a pale boy.
I can work with this. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got. We have number 2 coming from Nocturnal UX. I like that name. That's a cool name. It says, roast Dan. Dan is so tall that if God were real, Dan would have bagged his head. That says bagged, but I think banged his head against him by now. Flat Earth version. Dan is so tall that when he stands up, he bangs his head against the dome. Okay, so if God were real, I would have banged my head against it. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. That's
the firmament would have been in trouble. Dan's so tall that his hair is speaking different languages because it's Tower of Babel kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, you know what? These are pretty good, but I'm really excited to see number 1. Let's get to number 1 here. This is from Chuck Gatos, who says, on days when Dan forgets to shave, Bigfoot sightings reports double. That's great. That is awesome. I really like that. So those are some great roasts, you guys. Thanks so much for contributing to last week. That was really fun to do. I appreciate that. But we always have a prompt for every week. So this week's prompt for next week is going to be the secret to any good conspiracy is blank. So go ahead and leave your comments down below if you want to participate, and we'll pick the top 3 answers for next week. But before we move on, Johnny, what do you think the secret to any conspiracy is?
Unfalsifiability.
Yeah, you're right. I think so. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Well, Johnny, like I said, we have some excellent calls, I think, that we're going to get to today. So I think we should just like jump right into the calls. What do you think?
Yeah, I do too.
I agree. Okay. Before we do, we always have to thank. What do we always have to thank? Johnny, do you know? Do you remember? It's been a while.
We have to thank and the patrons.
We have to thank the crew. We will thank the crew, but we always thank the patrons, Johnny, the patrons that help make the show happen every single week. Thank you to everybody that donates on Patreon. We, of course, want to give one special shout out to the patron of the week. So this week's patron of the week is going to be, I can't see it quite yet because my screen is frozen. But the crew is going to tell me. And once they do tell me, I'm going to give that person a very special thank you.
Tell you something.
Going to be great. What do you say?
The patron of the week this week is a singular individual. This person doesn't just give Patreon funds. This person isn't just there with cash, is there in spirit as well.
Yes, I agree. And I'm really glad that you're here with me, Johnny, because you know how to vamp very well. But thankfully, we do have the patron of the week, and it's Danzil Monk. Danzil Monk, which is awesome. Thank you so much, Danzil, and thank you to everybody that donates on Patreon. You guys rock. Okay, Johnny, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. We're jumping in. You ready to jump in?
It's actually a dream come true.
It's a jump in day, kind of day.
I'm hoping that I will get pinched at some point so that I can know that I'm not asleep.
Yes. Well, so here's why we're excited, folks, because we were reached out recently by a publicist. Sometimes we get emails from folks, publicists wanting to get on shows and stuff like that. And so we got reached out by the publicist of Brandon Joe Williams. And Brandon Joe Williams is live with us right now. I just put you on the air here, Brandon. He is someone who talks about sovereign citizenry. I don't know if you describe that yourself, Brandon, but you have a book about how to, like, legally, according to you, legally not pay taxes to the U.S. government. And we were like, well, we have to talk to you on our show. So here we are, Brandon. You are live on Truth Wanted with us. What's going on?
Hi, guys. Hi. Great to see you.
Hello, Brandon. Can you hear us?
Clue anything about your show, but I will tell you that
Brandon, if you are there, we are going to return you to the queue so we can talk to you in just a second here. But I'm not getting any audio from Brandon.
I heard him. I heard him just fine.
Okay. I'm not hearing him right now. Maybe I need to do some stuff on my end here, Johnny. Let's see. I will have to do that. Can you tell a quick story in like 30 seconds, Johnny? Johnny, what's a fun thing that you did this week?
I've been working my tail off. That's not fun. I can tell you something different. I can tell you that I've had a lot of, and Brandon, this is for you as well. I have encountered sovereign citizens throughout my career as an attorney, allegedly. I didn't know about them until I graduated from law school. And at every single job I've had, I've run into sovereign citizens, either in pleadings, they file stuff with the court that I've worked with. Friends of mine have had them as opposing counsel, pro se opposing counsel. I had one as a witness in a case. I actually had one as my own opposing counsel. And then, of course, I ran into some familial connections. There was also an ice cream man that I met once that was a sovereign citizen. And I have watched a lot of videos about sovereign citizenship. I've read some very interesting articles about sovereign citizenship. And so I've talked to some, but I think the ones that I talked to in any depth about this were not as open and not as articulate. And I watched a video of you talking to somebody else, and you seemed like a pretty charismatic person with a really good ability to chat. And so I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Great. Okay, I'm back here. Brandon, if you could speak again. Let me see if I can hear you this time.
Can you guys hear me?
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry
Yes.
about that, Brandon. That was an issue on my end, but we should all be good. I can hear you now. Brandon, how are you doing?
Good, guys. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Doing great. Excited to talk to you. Tell me, how do I legally not pay my taxes? Because I would love to not do that sometimes. Well, actually, maybe do I? Because is it unpatriotic for me not to pay my taxes? I don't know. What, Brandon? You obviously have a lot of thoughts about this. I want to know what do we have to do here? How did you get interested in this?
Well, let me tell you this. First off, I want to say the way that you guys introduced the subject puts me at a massive disadvantage, and nothing gets me more sexually aroused than being at a disadvantage. So I just want to be clear about that first.
Okay. All right.
You're welcome.
That is a strong opening, Brandon. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So, what do you got for us?
I could prove all this stuff asleep. So I'll start off with you guys. I'll make it easy. Do you guys have access to Google right now, or some kind of a looking
Absolutely.
up internet stuff somewhere?
Yeah. Right in front of me.
Okay. Type in 28. Type in 28 space USC
section
space 3002.
All right. Okay. 28 US code.
And then the first link there. Yep. 3002.
Cornell
and
University.
then you're going to click on Cornell University. Yep.
All right.
Cornell.
Okay.
Scroll on down to subsection 15.
All right.
Read subsection 15 and definition A out loud.
Okay, Johnny, you got it?
Yeah.
All right. Can you read it?
United States, in quotation marks, means a federal corporation.
Don't read B and C, because it's gonna create it's way too advanced. So just stay right there. So what letter in definition A is capitalized?
That'd be the F in federal.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Now open up another tab, and this one you're going to type in UCC, which stands for Uniform Commercial Code. Space 9-307.
Okay, folks at home, feel free to play along. I don't know what to tell you if you're not at your computer, but we are doing the Googling and we are getting it here. Maybe crew can get some stuff on screen if they're fast enough. We'll see. But we got another one here. Okay, so another one from Cornell.
Mm-hmm. Cornell, thank you for your service, Cornell.
You're going to go down to subsection H as in Henry and go ahead and read that bad boy out loud.
Wait, real quick. I think I lost it. It was UCC.
I'll send you the link. I'll put the link for you right here.
9-307.
9-30. Oh, 307. Okay, 307. Thank you.
307. Yep. And I'll read it right here. It says
location of debtor.
Location of United States. The United States is located in the District of Columbia. What it says there.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So what is the United States? The United States is a federal corporation. Where is that federal corporation located? It's located in the District of Columbia.
All right.
Now we're going to open up another tab. And you're going to type in 14.
Okay.
Space 14. CFR, which stands for Code of Federal Regulations.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Space 47.2.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Cornell.
Now the Cornell one we got here. All right.
This one is the definition of two terms: citizen of the United States and U.S. citizen. Okay.
Okay. So, but I noticed that this is under the FAA rules under the Department of. First of all, the first one
that's okay.
We just kind of skipped over. Well, it's okay, but are you telling me that the FAA rules of the Department of Transportation is the official definition of where you find what a U.S. citizen is? Or is it just for purposes of the FAA?
If you want to look above that, you can. If you want to find something above that, you can. This is the best place I've found to locate the definition of U.S. citizen, but you also got to think, too, take a look at definition number 2 and definition number 3. Is definition number 2 and definition number 3 a human being? It's just a yes or no question.
All right, let's see here. We have a partnership.
I don't have a computer here. I'm outside of a bar in Malibu, California. I normally do this with my computer, but I wasn't at home today.
Understood.
I have all this stuff so nailed down that I don't even need to think about it. I don't even need notes. This is all from heart.
I hear you. It says a partnership, each of whose partners is an individual who is a citizen of the United States. And then the third one's a long paragraph here, but it says a corporation or association organized under the laws of the United States, or a state, the District of Columbia, or a territory possession of the United States, and then some other stuff there. So
we know three things so far. I have proven three things. Number one, the United States is a federal corporation. The federal is capitalized. I don't know how long this show is going to go, but I can prove what that means fairly easily. The second thing we know is that corporation is located only and exclusively inside the territorial boundaries of the District of Columbia. Number three, we now know, and if you don't like the FAA thing, then look somewhere else. But I guarantee you, wherever you look, you're going to find the same thing. A U.S. citizen or citizen of the United States can be an association, partnership, or corporation. It's not just a human being.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, with that said, go ahead
where's
and
this
open up
going?
a new tab, a W-9 form.
Oh man. Okay. Open up a lot of tabs here. All right.
So worth it. This is so worth it.
W-9 form.
Opening up the W-9 form. I got it.
IRS.gov.
In the W-9 form, you're going to look under Part 2, and I think I have this memorized. I certify under penalty of perjury, blank, blank, blank. You're going to look under, I believe it's subsection 2 or 3. I am a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person. Am I right or am I wrong on that? Because I don't have any. I don't have a computer.
It does say that I am a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person defined below.
I'm looking for it. Oh,
is what it says.
Yes, I see it.
And it says definition of U.S. person for federal tax purposes. You are considered a U.S. person if you are an individual who is a U.S. citizen or a U.S. resident alien. Okay. And then it also says a partnership, corporation, company, association. Just read the next.
Right next to the signature slot where you're supposed to sign on the W-9, it says signature of U.S. person. Is that correct or is that false?
Let's see. By the signature. Signature of U.S. person. Yep, that's what it says.
Fantastic. So we're going to open up another tab.
Oh man, I feel like we're going to go. I feel like this is like a magician act. I feel like you're going to pull a rabbit out of a hat here, Brandon. I don't know.
There's a little bit of that, Brandon. There's a little bit of that going on right now.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I got another tab open.
Next tab. You're going to type in 26 space USC space 7701, which is a definition section at the beginning of Title 26, which is the Internal Revenue Code.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I got it here. Johnny, you got it?
7701 definitions.
Yes. Okay. We're both there.
Now we're going to scroll down to the same definition you just read, but we're going to read it from this one. It's the same thing. Definition number 1, definition of the word person.
Okay. Term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, a state, partnership, association, company, or corporation. Okay.
Yeah. Now we're going to stop right there. We're going to summarize. Again, what have we already realized so far? 1, United States is a federal corporation. Number 2, that federal corporation is located in the District of Columbia. Number 3, U.S. citizen or citizen of the United States, as per fine FAA, but if you look elsewhere, you're going to find the same thing, can be other things besides a human being, such as an association, corporation, or partnership. And then number 4, we have the definition of the word person includes an association, corporation, or association.
All right.
So that's what we've realized so far in this conversation. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up Dun and Bradstreet.
Oh, Jesus. How many tabs we got to open up here, Brandon? Where are we going here?
We're going all the way down.
Wait, can we?
Dun and Bradstreet.
Can we at least, I know you have like, you want to get, you have a whole bit here and I respect it. I respect that. I do. I just want to know, like, what's the point? What are we trying to demonstrate here? Like, what are we doing?
Well, I have to go a little bit farther because I base everything I do on evidence. I don't just talk about it. So I'm
How
going to
much
give you guys
farther though?
the
Like
evidence,
one more
then we'll
tab
talk
or like
about it.
5 more tabs? Because like this is, I want to keep it
I would
entertaining
say
for
at least
folks
a
at
few
home.
more.
Oh, few more? How
I'd
many
say
more,
a few
Brandon?
more, and
Yeah.
I think let's do 3 more, and then we'll talk about it.
3 more? Okay,
3
Johnny,
more.
are you cool with 3 more? What do you think?
Very cool with
All
3
right,
more.
Johnny's zen
All
right
right.
now. Okay, he's fine. All right, Brandon, you won Johnny's heart, so that means we get to do it. So
I like it.
let's
I
hear it.
like it, Brandon.
Mystery.
Brandon, real quick. None of this stuff is real, but go on. I want to hear more of how I'm wrong.
Excellent. I love it. I love the challenge. Let's go. So go to
All right.
Dun and Bradstreet, and you're going to type
Yep.
in. Now I live in Los Angeles. Okay. Now on Dun and Bradstreet, you're going to find the corporate version. Now let me
Yes.
be clear about this.
Yes.
These are not the actual state of, the actual county of, or the actual city of. We're going to use Dun and Bradstreet to look up corporations. All of the corporations
Yes.
we're about ready to
Yes.
look up are all located inside the District of Columbia exclusively and
Yep.
only. You're going to look up government of the United States. You can look up state of California, county of Los Angeles, and city of Los Angeles, all of which are going to be listed in Dun and Bradstreet.
Okay, all right.
That's a thing.
Okay,
That's a well-known thing.
all right. So I see the Dun and Bradstreet website. I guess you can look it up on here, Johnny. You tell me, you know where to go here?
At the
'Cause-
top in the middle,
I don't even need to.
search bar, and you guys
I
can
don't-
type in. You guys
Yeah.
can type in anything you want: state of Texas, state of
Absolutely.
California, city
Absolutely.
of Los Angeles, city of Dallas, whatever you want, and it's going to show you,
FAA.
showing you
Yeah.
the actual city.
That's
okay,
right.
It's not
All
showing you the actual state. It's showing you a corporation.
That's right.
okay, all right. I think I found it here, but I'm gonna assume for the sake of argument that like you have these pages here because I can't find the exact pages, but I'm gonna Johnny's okay with this outcome.
I will
so-
grant that there is a DUNS number.
Okay.
Well, Dun and Bradstreet, it says business directory. It literally says that on the top of the page.
Sure.
So I'm not sure if there's
Sure.
any confusion about that. These are corporate businesses. These are not trusts or anything.
Dun
These
and-
are- these
Dun
are
and Bradstreet.
corporations that were issued by the District of Columbia.
Dun and Bradstreet assigned a number to those entities.
To a business, which is a corporation.
Every single
If you
company,
want
I think every single
a
country gets a
corporation, I'd be
Dun
more
Dun
than
and
happy to
Bradstreet
wait.
number. Doesn't every country?
No, because
No?
I have private irrevocable trusts that are not businesses. They aren't
Yeah.
corporation, and they aren't listed in Dun and Bradstreet.
Okay, sure. I'm sure they're not.
So if you want to open a private irrevocable trust, it's not a business, it's not a corporation, it's not located in the District of Columbia. If you want to open up a corporation and you want to go to the District of Columbia to get a corporation, the only thing they're going to issue you is corporations. All of those corporations are all physically located in the District of Columbia. No different than UCC 9-307H, which shows that United States is located in the District of Columbia. Same thing. Now, the reason why I'm showing you all this is because when you sign for voter registration, go ahead and type in California voter registration into a new tab. I think I have 2 more left. I'm going to use them both very wisely.
I
Open up
appreciate
that
it.
tab. Look up, type in California voter registration.
Okay, we're in Austin, Texas, right? Well, I'm in Austin, Texas right now. So
Yeah,
I don't know how
can
much.
we do
It
Austin?
might be the same for Texas. I don't
Let's
really
do- let's
know
do-
if it's going to be the same for Texas.
All right, let's do California just for the sake of
Sure,
following
okay,
the thread.
California online voter registration. I'm on the
computer on me.
website.
Brandon doesn't have a computer in front of him. That's
Yeah,
a fair
we-
comment. I
We
agree.
got it. We got it.
Okay.
I'm
So
here,
if you
Brandon.
look at if you look at every single option that you have when you're filling out California voter registration, do you have any options that would not force you to admit that you're a U.S. citizen?
That would not force you to admit.
I'm just going to go ahead and say probably not.
I don't know.
Did you
Register to
look
vote now, pre-register to vote, check your registration status. I mean,
So
maybe. I'm not
You
sure.
can go to pre-register to vote, and it's going to say you are one of the following. It's going to give you about 9 different options.
Right.
And my question is,
Okay.
of those 9 different options, are any of them going to allow you to not be a U.S. citizen?
I
see
would
what- I see what you're saying
assume
now.
not.
They
I would
all say
assume
U.S.
not.
citizen. They all say U.S. citizen on there. Yep.
They all say U.S. citizen. Excellent. Now
Yeah.
we're going to open up
Yeah.
another tab. I have
Okay.
2 more left, right? I think I just need
No,
2
this is
more.
your last one. This is your last one. One
Fuck.
last one.
Fuck.
Yep.
I need two more, but I'm gonna do one more. We're gonna go to
so close, Dan.
USC.
USC
1101.
101.
1101. All right.
Thank you, Cornell University, for your service again.
21.
Subsection 21.
21. Would it be A21?
No, it's 20. It's just straight up 21. It's the A is a subsection of one of the other numbers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You got to scroll like halfway down the page. It's a lot.
Here we go. The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state.
Excellent.
Okay.
Now I need one more tab. I thought I was going to be good. You're going to open.
Dan, let's give it to him. Let's give him the tab.
All right, fine, Brandon. You get the tab.
I need a gimme. I need a gimme on this one.
You're getting a lot from me tonight, but all right. Well, my computer is full of your tabs, so we get one more.
I-9 form.
All right, I-9.
If you look at the I-9 form, which is the employment eligibility form.
That's right.
Okay.
Now go ahead and read box 1 out loud on that form, and then go ahead and read box 2 out loud on that form.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Come on, Adobe. Get this PDF open.
So many tabs.
I know. I got a lot going on. Okay. Box 1 where it says last name or family name.
No. Box 1 under citizenship types or types of nationality.
Where it says, I attest under penalty or perjury that I am, and then check one of the following boxes. And then the first one says a citizen of the United States.
Number 2.
Number 2 is a non-citizen national of the United States.
Bada bing to the bada boom, right there, my friend. So I just basically proved to you there's two different types of there's a citizenship and there's a nationality. Okay, now I can start talking about this shit. Now that I've shown it to you. Okay, so your citizenship is a U.S. citizenship. U.S. is defined as a federal corporation that is located in the District of Columbia.
According to the FAA.
U.S. citizen. Fine, you can find it someplace else if you want, but I mean, take U.S. and take the word citizen. Don't even just ignore 14 CFR 47.2 and just take U.S. by itself. U.S. means federal corporation located in the District of Columbia. Period. I've already proved that. So the thing is that if you say you're a U.S. citizen, you live inside of the District of Columbia. If you say you are a non-citizen national of the United States, which I've already proved exists, it isn't false, as per box 2 of the I-9 employment verification form, that is someone who lives in one of the 50 independent nation states of the 50 states of America. These are two entirely different selections that you can choose for yourself which one that you want. Now, if you want to know how to never pay taxes again, you're going to have to open up another tab. So that's up to you if you want to know.
All right. Well, we got to take things one step at a time here. Johnny, you're rolling your eyes. You're sighing.
Dan, one step at a time.
Yeah, we're
already up the stairs.
Dan. Johnny, we got 9 tabs open here, I think. Like what's I need your thoughts.
I need another tab if you want to get into if you want to know how to never ever have to pay taxes again, I need another tab.
I'm just trying to figure out make a decision. I don't even know what conclusion we just came to here. What's going on? So can we start with some so I'm not a US citizen, or I am a US citizen, or I can be if I want to be? Like, what's going on here?
If you check the box under penalty of perjury, you're stating that you live in the District of Columbia, and they just accept whatever answer you give them. They're like, all right, cool, he lives here. It's that simple.
Oh, I don't think that's how that works, actually. I pay my taxes to the state of Texas and also the U.S. So, I don't know if I have to be D.C.
The state of Texas is a corporation that is a sub-corporation of United States. As per Dun & Bradstreet, it's a business.
Right, it's a sub.
It's not located in Texas. State of Texas is located in the District of Columbia.
Wait, so where am I at right now?
I don't know. Where are you at?
Well, I'm in Austin, Texas. I thought.
Careful. Are you sure?
Am I not in Texas?
Are you sure, Dan? Would you click when you?
Are you in state of Texas? Those are two completely different locations. State of Texas is a corporation.
Okay. Well, I thought I was in the state of Texas. Like when I write down on a letter, I put Austin TX for the postal code. So, I think that means Texas, right?
Yeah. So TX and Texas are the same place. TX is two capital letters that mean a location. Do you know for a fact that those two locations are the exact same location? Because Texas is spelled capital TEXAS, not TX, capital.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just an abbreviation.
Yeah, it's a postal code.
Okay, well, hey, if you guys can prove that, then I'll be more than happy to go with that. But I've never seen any evidence that proves that.
So I don't live in I live in TX. Where do I live? Oh wait, I don't live in the state of Texas. I live in Texas, just as a body. Like, where do I live? I don't know. Brandon, tell me where I live.
F1. Where does he live?
The state of Texas is a corporation that is located in the District of Columbia, and the way that you write that is TX, comma, and then the zip code. The zip code signifies a federal zone, right? If you were a national, you would actually be living in the nation of Texas, because originally, as per the Articles of Confederation, each of the individual several states, which doesn't mean several the number. If you look at the definition of several, it actually means separate or individual. Several states, meaning each of the states are actually individual nations. And the passport system is actually a passport system for international travel. That's why it's called a national. So when you travel from California to Nevada, it is actually an international travel.
Okay. So I'm in the nation of Texas.
But if you're traveling from the corporation called State of Texas to the corporation called State of California, it's not international travel, because both of those corporations are both located in the District of Columbia.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm definitely not in the District of Columbia. I don't think so. I guess I'm in the nation of Texas then. So when I travel to like New Mexico, I'm traveling from the nation of Texas to the nation of New Mexico. Is that right?
Exactly. Yep. But not if you're filed as a U.S. citizen and you filed all this documentation under penalty of perjury, because then all they say to you is they say, okay, if that's true, then you're a perjurer. So which one are you? Are you a perjurer or are you a U.S. citizen? And that's how they corner you, right? The thing is that as per 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection 21, you have the right to be a member of a state as a national of that state, and you're what's called a non-citizen national, which is exactly what you see on the I-9 box number 2. Okay. So the thing is that you have a choice, and everyone has a choice, and you can choose. Do I live in the U.S., which would make me a U.S. citizen? The U.S. is a federal corporation. The F is capitalized. Now, by the way, the F being capitalized, that signifies corporate state to corporate state transfer. Because if you look at everywhere where they say the word state, it's always capitalized, except 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection 21, when they're talking about a national, and they say the word state. The state in that word, if you go back to 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection 21, and you look at the word state, you will see it's lowercase. And the reason why is because the lowercase s in state means the nation state. The uppercase s in state means the corporation called State of California or State of Texas.
All right. Okay. This is a lot of information, Brandon. I don't know if you realize this. I don't know how many times you've presented this before. This obviously isn't your first time, but this is a lot. This is like a lot.
It's a lot of information.
Oh, I know. Okay. This is barely scratching the surface. If we had, I did a show the other day. We had 3 hours solid.
Okay.
We just keep presenting evidence the whole time.
We can't go 3 hours. I actually don't know how much longer we'll go with this. But like there's been a lot of I hear a lot of claims.
A little bit.
I hear a lot of claims.
A little bit, okay? I want to be clear. So the thing is that basically the way this works is, now you originally asked me, how do I stop paying taxes? So I've explained a good portion of it. Now, like I said, I need one more tab if you guys want the answer to that question.
I want to give the tab, Dan. I know you think you've had enough.
Johnny, I'm just like, my mind is just kind of blown right now. Suddenly I'm not in the corporation of Texas anymore. First of all, didn't know there was a corporation. Apparently there is. And now I'm actually in the nation of Texas. And I've been writing Texas with a capital T when I shouldn't be doing that, I guess. It should just be a lowercase. I don't know. A lot of things are happening here.
Brandon, give me the citation for how I don't have to pay taxes. I want to know more about that.
All right, here we go. 26 CFR 1.871-1.
All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. This is the Code of Federal Regulations. We're looking at internal revenue. All right.
Now, I am going to have to put you on my headphones to read this because I'm actually going to have to read it out loud. Give me a second here. Hold on one second.
Geez. Okay.
This one's a little bit. You guys are going to get lost if I don't read this one. So just.
I'm already lost,
you guys hear me
Brandon. I can still hear you. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to be lost here in just 1 second. Watch this. So
we're lost.
State citizenship, and there's a national citizen, and there's a federal citizenship. The federal citizenship is called a U.S. citizen. A U.S. citizen is someone or something. We've already proven that, and I get it, FAA, whatever. Find another definition. I'm more than happy to look at it. It could be an association, it could be a partnership, or it could be a corporation, or it could be an individual, all of which have special definitions, which I'm not going to get into all that right now. We're going to get into 26 CFR. This one I'm actually going to pull up. This one's not.
Right. Folks at home, I'm just letting you know, this is Johnny's fault. Johnny said we could have another tab. All right. So
I think it's important to know.
All right, here we go.
Johnny wants to know. All right. That's fine.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So Section A, classes of aliens. Now, what we're going to do on this is the definition of United States means a federal corporation that is located in the District of Columbia. So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to replace the term United States with the District of Columbia. And when I do that, all the clouds will part, and you will see what you need to pay taxes on. Are you ready for this?
Okay. All right. Here we go.
For purposes of the income tax, alien individuals are divided generally into two classes. This is Section A, classes of aliens, namely resident aliens and non-resident aliens. Resident aliens are, in general, taxable the same as citizens of the District of Columbia. That is, a resident alien is taxable on income derived from all sources, including sources without or outside of the District of Columbia. Non-resident alien individuals are taxable only on certain income from sources within the District of Columbia. And I know what you guys are going to say. There's a second section on income from sources without the District of Columbia. Yes, and when you dig into that, it doesn't really go anywhere. I've dug into that a lot. It doesn't really go anywhere, okay? So basically what they're saying is if you live in the District of Columbia, you're taxed on everything. If you live outside of the District of Columbia, you're a non-resident alien, and you only pay taxes on the income that you make from sources within the District of Columbia. Now, there's a second part, though. This is really important, okay? The second part is just below that. It says here, however, non-resident alien individuals may elect, I'm going to skip that part. The next part is a bunch of numbers. To be treated as U.S. residents for purposes of determining their income tax liability. So what happened was the first time you filed a W-9 form and you said that you were a U.S. citizen, you elected to be treated as though you live inside of the District of Columbia. There's a process that you can do.
Can we take a time out? I'm sorry, Brandon. I don't mean to interrupt you. I really got to take a time out here because I know I asked about the tax stuff, okay, but like I have so many other questions now. I need to know. Like, first of all, like I got a birth certificate that says I'm a U.S. citizen. What does that mean?
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I don't.
Show it to me because it doesn't say that.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm not going to show my birth certificate on the internet. I've been, that's like rule number one.
It does not say that.
It doesn't say that.
And there's two types of birth certificate. There's two types of birth certificate. There's a certificate of live birth, which is the actual original one that have your parents' signature on it. That's the one you should be looking at.
All right.
And then there's the normal one. The normal one is actually a duplicate of the certificate of live birth. So when you go and you actually get a birth certificate, you should be getting certificate of live birth. The colloquial term for it is long form birth certificate. That's the one you want to get.
We've heard that term before.
Original one.
Okay. So that doesn't tell me that I'm a U.S. citizen because like I have like a social security number and stuff, right? Like that doesn't mean anything.
That's going to take a while to explain all that. We're not going to get into that. Your birth certificate does not say U.S. citizen anywhere.
Okay. Well, so like I'm not even a citizen of like Travis County in Austin. Like counties don't exist either.
They do as governmental sub-entities, but you're not a citizen of that.
County of Travis. If you go on Dun and Bradstreet, you will find a corporation. Well, now it's back. Actually, I'll stop a second. There are places, especially in Texas, that are unincorporated. Unincorporated counties you will not find on Dun and Bradstreet. Go ahead and take a look.
Okay. Well,
who writes up Dun and Bradstreet? Who writes Dun and Bradstreet?
It's a corporate directory. It's a directory.
It's a corporate directory. So who is the corporate? Who wrote it? Is that an official government?
There's only one body. There's only one body that issues corporations. Guess what body issues corporations?
That's not true.
The District of Columbia.
Wait, that's not true.
False.
Wait, there's corporations all over the world.
Yes,
that are not American.
Every state has the ability to incorporate. You're just going to ignore the fact that every state has the ability to every state of the United States has the ability to issue articles of incorporation.
Yeah, I can start a business in Texas.
Yes, they do.
Right
now, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The answer to that question is yes, they do. But it's not the nation state of Texas is issuing that. It's the corporation called State of Texas, which is located in the District of Columbia.
Let's go back really quick to Dun and Bradstreet really quickly. Can we?
Okay.
So who issues the Dun numbers?
I don't know. It says business directory. So
Dun and Bradstreet. Dun and Bradstreet. Who is Dun and Bradstreet?
I don't know.
No idea. So if I were to produce a directory that listed individuals, persons, companies, states, clubs.
We've already got the definition of persons.
If I were to issue a directory, like a listing of, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of entities, governmental, non-governmental, persons like yourself, me, Dan, you, and I were to publish that directory, would that give it the force of law?
What is the definition of force of law?
I mean, like, is any legal entity going to recognize it as like, if you're not officially a corporation unless you're in Johnny's directory? Like, that's what he's asking.
No, Brandon, you're going to have to slow down at this point. Because we've given you a long time to spew forth erratic claims about the way that government, law, contracts, civil, criminal obligations exist.
So why don't we do
okay?
this then? Why don't we
Brandon, this is what we're going to do. Brandon, this is what we're going to do. No, Brandon, this is what we're going to do. And now you are muted because I always get irritated when people try to dominate conversations with quick talking and a gish gallop. And Brandon, you've got a nice personality. You've got a nice voice. I've seen you on videos. You exude a kind of confidence. But you know who else exudes confidence? And I'm not saying that you're one of these people. Confidence men exude a lot of confidence. The fact of the matter is that the fact that there is a Dun number by some company who, for purposes of whatever their motivation is, right? Some private individual issues a Dun number to, I don't know, Vatican City, Germany, the United States, state of Texas, various agencies and corporations, and limited liability companies, limited partnerships, sole practitionerships. Who knows what's included in there? It doesn't really matter what's in there. But this just some entity that for whatever purpose, probably for the sake of international commerce, scary term, has issued a directory with numbers. That does not give it the force of law. And by force of law, I mean it's not a governmentally recognized, legally binding document that grants it any rights, privileges, licenses, obligations, and things like that. That's just a directory. I'm sure there's others besides that one. Now, as far as citizenship is concerned, you don't really need to go very far to find out where citizenship is covered. It's in the Constitution. 14th Amendment, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. It's not a mutually exclusive thing, Brandon. It's not something that you can contract out of when you think about it in terms of being obligated. The very fact, if you are within the jurisdiction of the United States, which is an internationally recognized sovereign entity, right? You are subject to the laws. You just are. And I know that some people listen to this kind of stuff and they don't want to pay taxes because they can't afford it, or they don't like where their money goes to. And I don't like where my money goes to a lot of times too. But the fact of the matter is, cherry picking citations out of context from FAA regulations and citing to the Uniform Commercial Code does not get you out of those obligations. I want to say really quick, I love the Uniform Commercial Code. I think it's a great idea. And for those of you who don't know, the Uniform Commercial Code is a set of model laws that were put out by, and I'm looking this up right now, and I know this from school, by the American Law Institute and the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws. And what they do, it's a bunch of professors, legal practitioners, individuals like that who think, what is the state of the law on a particular subject involving commerce, right? Business transactions, what have you. And what should it be? What is it? Let's look at what kind of lawsuits come up. How can we resolve some of these conflicts that come up that are caused by uncertainty, that are caused by various issues that come up in commerce? And should we amend it? So they have a set of laws they think the various states of the union should adopt as their individual laws on that particular issue, whether it's sales issues, or when does an individual have receipt of goods, okay? Or where does liability transfer? When is possession transfer? Is it when it's shipped, or is it when it's received? There's a lot of things. I took a UCC class and I thought it was fascinating. I don't do that area of law because that area of law is a little too boring for me. But the study of it was interesting. And so every state has access to the Uniform Commercial Code and will either adopt or not adopt certain provisions of the UCC. Texas, California, Idaho, it doesn't really matter. And although they all kind of look toward the UCC in a way as guidance, the UCC also looks to the states as guidance. And it's kind of like, it's a differing matter of opinions, whereas the UCC may be a matter of some kind of political forces back and forth between, the wealthy individuals who are involved in interstate commerce, and they have a way to influence people. Truth be told, most of it is professors and practitioners who do this kind of stuff. Okay. On the other hand, the states are subject to direct political force. All right. And so you cite to the UCC, that doesn't really get you anywhere. So what is thy response to that? I'm going to go ahead.
You got to unmute him?
Yeah, I'm going to unmute him.
Okay.
And I know we're going to get another
Got that. There
fire
we go. Brandon,
hose.
you are unmuted.
So if this was a trial, I've put forth evidence and you've put forth zero evidence. You just talked. So at this point, I would like to actually have evidence on your end. I'm going to pull up.
First of all, whoa, Brandon. If this was wait a minute, Brandon. If this was a trial, we would have a discovery process, so we would know what the hell you consider evidence, so we could review it. We're taking this live on a show.
9-307H.
Brandon, you showed us 9 tabs of different legal definitions from like 12 different organizations. I don't even know what we're even what to even consider as evidence at this point.
Brandon, this is pre-trial. This is pre-trial pleadings, is what this is. Okay.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys have absolutely any solid evidence, whether it's from the UCC, the USC, or the CFR, or I don't care where it's from, to be honest with you, because a lot of the stuff trickles down from the upper level. So even if you show me something from something lower, even like the California Vehicle Code, I'd be happy with it, because then I know I'll find that above that point. Okay. So let me ask you guys a question. I've presented some things, some definitions. Do you guys have anything at all that you would be able to present to me? I'll pull my phone out of my pocket that I could look at that would refute absolutely anything I have to say on this show so far.
Yeah. Johnny already said the U.S. Constitution outlines what a U.S. citizen is.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't get much higher than that.
So Article 4. Yeah. Now the thing is that the 14th Amendment is the actual amendment that created the U.S. citizen versus state citizen.
I am familiar with this argument. It is not substantiated in fact. I'm sorry, Brandon. You've cherry-picked a bunch of stuff. Brandon, hold on a minute, buddy. I'm going to go ahead and mute you again if you can't control yourself. Brandon, I'm familiar with the 14th Amendment is the point at which sovereign citizens claim that the federal government created two classes of citizens, U.S. citizens and whatever the other one is. Okay. It's not true. That's not true. That's not how things work. The 14th Amendment, and I'll go ahead and I can read it again if you need me to. I got so many darn tabs open.
Yeah.
But here we go. 14th Amendment, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, I could just read that, and I know what you're going to probably say. And subject to the jurisdiction thereof. It's a and, not an or. Okay, but every single word in here has legal consequences. And they're not the legal consequences that you think they are. Okay, so you gish galloped us so much. The truth is, Brandon, that's not how arguments work in court. I've seen sovereigns, so-called sovereign citizens, get absolutely demolished. A lot of the argument is that I would say is, tell it to the judge. But as an officer of the court, I have to say, please don't tell it to the judge, because you're going to get yourself in some trouble. Really, Brandon, this is truly nonsense. And anyone who listens to this kind of thinking can get themselves into some serious criminal and civil liability issues. All right. And I'm not offering legal advice, but I would ask any individual who's watching this show. Got some great cuckoo birds out there who like watching this show because Dan puts on some good stuff. Okay. And I'm a cuckoo bird too. I watch it too. I would say if you have any questions as to whether or not you have any legal obligation to engage in a particular activity, pay a particular fine, child support, whatever it might be, you find a licensed attorney to provide you with informed, comprehensive advice, because this doesn't do it. You can talk fast. You can throw tabs at us, Brandon. And I know that there's a culture of sovereign citizens out there who all share this kind of stuff. It's all bogus nonsense. All right. And you've been sold. I don't know how. I don't know if you're authentic or if you're are you a wolf or are you a sheep? Are you the shepherd or are you a sheep? I don't know. But this stuff isn't true. And I know I have asserted I have the claim, so I have to provide the evidence. Well, that would require, I'm going to do what one of my email interlocutors did. when we were talking about something, and he cited to was it Kant, and I said, "Cool." Then I'm gonna cite to Bertrand Russell. I would encourage you, Brandon, to go to law school and learn how things operate from the top down and the bottom up. And until you do that, I would be very cautious about what kind of claims you make in public forums like this, what books you write, because if somebody relies upon your words and somehow they're able to establish that you have any kind of a fiduciary relationship with them, you could get yourself into some serious trouble. But I'm not as worried about you as I am worried about the people who would listen to you. Honestly, really, sincerely worried about the people who would listen to that kind of nonsense. They could get themselves into hotter water than they might be in already. So I'm going to unmute you, and I'm sure you have a lot to say.
All right, Brandon, you are unmuted.
It's very, very simple. I would like you to explain to me box 2 of the I-9 form, please.
Box 2 of the I-9 form, which says a non-citizen national of the United States. Okay. That's what it says.
Sure.
Johnny.
Please enlighten us.
Non-citizen national. Let me go ahead and click on it. I-9 form. I'm clicking on it.
That's all it says. A non-citizen national of the United States.
Oh, so like
you know also that
like a resident alien.
Box 1 and box 2. Hey, whatever you tell me. I'm not going to say
I think that's what that is, right?
Do you recognize that there are individuals who live in this country who are either resident aliens or illegal aliens who live and work in this country?
Resident aliens, which I already showed you that. Yep.
They live and work in this country, but they are not citizens of this country, right? Some of them are authorized and some of them are not.
We're finally getting somewhere I can agree on. Thank God. Exactly. Continue.
And that's it. They pay taxes.
Fantastic. Now, I am in full agreement with what you just said. Now, going back to the definition of exactly what we're looking at in box 2, 8 USC 1101 subsection 21. Please explain to me what that means in relation to box 2 on the I.
Where are we again? Where was it again? I got to find it because it talks so fast.
8 USC 1101 subsection 21 definition of the word national.
USC
subsection
1101.
Yeah.
Okay.
Subsection 21.
Subsection 21. Oh God, I feel like
A21.
The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. But this is the USC.
No, he's citing to the U.S. Code, Title 8, Chapter 12. Chapter 12 is immigration and nationality.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
And so then we go down to A21. Right. You just skipped over the A. I don't know why you skipped over it. It doesn't unprove something. But it does do a lot of scrolling. And here I am, 21.
Yeah.
The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Okay.
Person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
so, again,
two different boxes, meaning that they're completely separate things. Now, I want you to explain this to me, please. I'd like to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you are a non-citizen national of the United States, you are a national to another country.
Yep.
That's all that means, as far as I can tell.
That's it.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. Dan?
I don't understand what the issue is.
Dan, we were talking just the other day. My friend, you got to go to law school. I said it to you.
True. But Brandon, what does that have to do with it? Yeah. You were born in the U.S., presumably. I was born in the U.S.
Hold on.
So we're not.
Okay.
We don't count.
I'm going to go with you guys on this one. I'm actually
all right, but we need to wrap things up here because we have been talking for a bit. So
okay. So I'm a Mexican and I go over the border. I'm from Mexico, right? Now, if I took an I-9 and I check box number 2, as per what you say it is, what's going to happen to me at that point?
Well, I think you could be a lawful permanent resident, which is number 3, or 4, which is an alien authorized to work.
No. Just number 2. I just want to focus on number 2, please.
Well, I think, of course, you want to focus on number 2. because you want to narrow the scope of the focus, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
So
okay, I'm
like,
sorry.
To me, the greater focus, but include that.
Or here's another thing. Or like, if you're born in like American Samoa, right? Like that would be like one way to do it. It doesn't count if you're like born in Mexico. I don't think. I don't think that's what that's for.
Brandon, clicking on boxes on tax form. Brandon, no, stop, Brandon, please. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you again. Old Johnny. It should be Johnny M. Angel, right?
Johnny M. Angel
for mute.
Ooh,
but
facts. Go on, John.
Okay, look, you can't. There's an idea amongst sovereign citizens.
Yeah,
I know because I love the videos of them trying out their nonsense in court. Trying things in various avenues of life, that if you click on certain boxes, if you fill out certain forms, like this I-9 form, that suddenly you transform your category into something else that now has different obligations. Well, that might be true with regards to, I don't know, plea agreements and various things like that. You don't just write your name a certain way and then you're magically transported. Sovereign citizenship has a kind of, Brandon has an interesting way of looking at it. He cherry picks through various definitions and so forth, ignoring the greater scheme of the law. And yeah, it's great that you can gish gallop your way through a bunch of cherry pick citations and then demand or politely request that I unravel the spaghetti that is your understanding of our American legal justice, but that's just it. Each one of the things that you pointed out exists in a context. Definitions are confusingly different from one code to the next. I have fallen prey in my practice, and thankfully I've had very good supervisors and colleagues who have said, Johnny, you're citing to the wrong provision. This applies to X, but you're doing X-1 or X-3. And it doesn't apply. You have to look at a different set of definitions. It's a whole scheme of things. So,
yeah.
Can I hear from the top of my head debunk some script that you have blurted out without context? Can I do it off the top of my head? No. But I can tell you, this is not how things work. Okay? And you'd find that out if you ever tried it in a court. You said if we're in a trial, right, that you would have put on evidence and that we would have been found wanting because we didn't provide evidence. The fact is, your claims that you've been asserting are part of a complaint or a petition, if it's federal or state. And I would have filed in federal court a 12b6 motion, failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. So you didn't make a prima facie case of anything, Brandon. You just threw out some nonsense. It sounds good. And I've said this on Atheist Experience and Talk Heathen before with some of our hosts, some of our callers who try to trip us up by laying forth all of these complex sounding arguments. And they try to lay out, they gish gallop you with a million different philosophical terms and facts, which is why I don't like big words. I don't like fast talk. I don't like a lot of information that you can't trace from their root to their consequences. It's fun in a conversation, but at some point it's diminishing returns.
All right.
This doesn't work. As a circuit diagram, the energy does not flow. The spice must flow. So that's all I have to say about that, Dan. Sorry.
Brandon, we're going to unmute you again. Last chance, final chance to respond, and then we have to let you go. We got to get the rest of this show going. What do you say, Brandon?
I mean, I say anything, and then you just say, like, it's not true. So, like, I guess, how about if we go back to 28 U.S.C. 3002, and it says United States means a federal corporation. Can you please explain that to me? Can you say anything about that?
That's the last thing you want to say is asking a question about what we think about the federal corporation.
Yeah, I mean, anything I say, you're just going to say it's not true because you're a lawyer and I need to go to law school and you're not going to show me anything. So what's the point?
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know. I am letting you go now. I'm about to let you drop. So that's all you want to say. So appreciate it, Brandon. Glad you got the call. Thanks. I gave him his last word, but yeah, federal corporation. I don't know. It probably just means some fucking. Well, the U.S. was formed. I don't know. I don't think it means like a business corporation. I think that's just, I don't know.
Well, let me say this, Dan, if I can. 28 USC, section 3002 is the definition section. It belongs to subchapter A.
Yeah.
Subchapter A is definitions and general provisions. Very good. Which belongs to chapter 176, federal debt collection procedure.
Yeah.
Okay. Federal debt collection procedure.
Okay.
And you go up, and then there's various proceedings.
Yeah.
So probably, I'm guessing for purposes of federal debt collection procedures, they're counting the federal government as a corporation.
Okay.
In federal court.
That makes sense. See, there you go. There's always context to these things. And look, like we went very long with that call. That might have been one of the longest calls we've ever decided to take. And I don't know. I thought we were going somewhere. It was like, okay, we're gonna open this up, and I thought like there was gonna be this grand conclusion, but all I got at the end of the day was just like a bunch of web pages with different definitions for things. I don't know why a business directory is supposed to prove that I don't have to pay taxes. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a lot to that, but I'm gonna trust the guy who went to law school on this. Sorry. I don't know, Brandon.
Dan, all I'm saying, I'm not giving anybody legal advice, and that doesn't mean anything that I'm saying that. All I'm saying is that if anyone ever tries to do a little skiffle, whatever you want to call this, be wary and be warned, and go find a professional on this one, because you can get really screwed if you listen to the wrong people.
That sounds really bad. And I'm glad Brandon got to talk to us and give his point of view. So thanks for that. But I'm not convinced yet. I don't know. I just saw a bunch of websites. I didn't really see evidence. I just kind of saw words, if anything. But hey, appreciate you trying. That was an interesting conversation, Johnny. I have got to give a lot of announcements here because we got to catch up. So I'm going to do this really quick. Just so you know, we are accepting super chats. So we are towards the end of the show. But if you want to give a super chat, give some shout outs and some love to Johnny for this particular call, that would be awesome. Assuming they're YouTube appropriate, we will try to read them before the end of the show. And of course, donating on Patreon is helpful, but you can also donate by becoming a member. You get emojis in the chat, your name gets highlighted, and you are going to be immune to slow mode, all for as little as 99 cents per month. So check that out. We do have limited edition t-shirts. Of course, every single month we've got our t-shirt of the month. This one is a brand new one that we're doing because we might as well. It's Cthulhu, folks, and it says feeling two today might destroy the universe, might eat a cat. I don't know. So or adopt, excuse me, not eat a cat. There you go with my bad vision again. But there's small text to be fair. So it's a great shirt. Already got 4 orders on it before we even started because some folks behind the scenes liked it, so they're ordering their own shirts. So check out that shirt if you want to get some merch. If you're going to be in the Austin area, July 30th, we are going to be doing a live show for Talk Heathen and Atheist Experience. Stores open at noon, of course. We hope to see you there. If you want to see us in person, of course, all of our live show events are free, so check it out. And if you want to get in touch with us, like Brandon did, you can email the show. It's truth@atheist-community.org, or you could reach out to the AC at TV@atheist-community.org and see what's going on our website at atheist-community.org. Last thing I gotta get out of the way, there is a Facebook group you should check out if you want to talk to people, by fans, for fans. It is tiny.cc/FBTWG to interact with the fan group there and talk about calls like this one. Figure out, other kinds of tax avoidance schemes, I guess. I don't know. Free country, right? Dan, or corporation. I don't know, actually.
Dan, I might have to actually leave the show and let Kelly pop in because I accidentally clicked theist on a box somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Can I undo it?
I don't know. Yeah, I think you have to go to the corporation of the Atheist Community of Austin to do that.
We are the Mecca.
Or the corporation of God. I don't know who's in charge of that. Actually,
is Jesus the director?
I think he's like
the
a
CEO.
I think he's an appointed body. He's
Oh,
definitely not elected. That's for sure. I didn't vote for him. But look, all jokes aside, right? If anybody else has any views similar to Brandon, we would love to have that on the show. I think that's the first time we've had the most like in-depth sovereign citizen talk here. And we haven't explored it like a whole lot. I mean, we did talk about it last time you were on.
But we didn't get a good caller to call in.
No, that was something else. So we have a lot of other callers. So I did have, and they didn't get to the truth bomb last week, but we went with that call so long. I feel like we have to talk to some more people. So, and I had a really good one for you, Johnny. We were going to talk about posse comitatus. You know about posse comitatus?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
There's a whole thing here, and maybe we'll have to get to it another time. Okay. But like, I really do want to keep doing the truth bomb stuff every week because, like, I think they're fun. But like, we spent so long in this call, we have so many other callers that want to talk to us. I think we should prioritize other callers. What do you think, Johnny?
I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. Oh, geez. Okay. Sorry, everybody. I know everybody's been waiting for a long time. Let's keep going here. And I want to talk to Ultimate Judeo-Christian, who's calling in from Australia. Ultimate Judeo-Christian, you are live on Truth Wanted. You've got a big act to follow after that last call. What do you got for us? Ultimate Judeo-Christian, you are live on Truth Wanted. Are you there? Can you hear us? Maybe not. Okay, so we'll return you to the queue. You couldn't hear me either that time, right, Johnny? Just making sure it wasn't me that time. Okay, just making sure. That is okay. Let's get to another caller here. This is interesting, Johnny. We have Slave of Christ calling in. So you know, had to give that one to you because I know you love Slave of Christ. Slave of Christ is calling in, saying that atheists are inherently immoral. So that's interesting. Slave of Christ, you're live on Truth Wanted.
Yeah. How are you guys?
Inherently immoral.
Inherently immoral. Also a free citizen, a freeman of the land.
Yeah, we're traveling. We're
traveling right now. Absolutely.
Not driving. It's my vessel.
Last time I called in, ObjectivelyDan told me that he fell into more of the category of agnosticism. He said that he's not sure that there is no deity, but he's not convinced that there is no deity. So I think ObjectivelyDan falls more into the category of agnosticism. I don't see you as atheist, actually.
Well, the term I prefer.
But the way. I'm sorry?
That's interesting you say that. The term I prefer is igtheist. And the reason why I prefer the term igtheist is because I don't actually make any particular claims as to whether particular gods are real to not with the term igtheist, because there's many different conceptions of God. So if I say God's not real, but somebody says, oh, well, God is nature, that means I say nature isn't real. But I think nature is real. So I use atheist to undermine like what the God definition is, right? Like I want to know what it is first before I can respond to it. If we're talking about the Christian God, if we're talking about Yahweh, I'm pretty confident that's not real. Like that classic Judeo-Christian concept of God, pretty confident that's not real. But like any other like, you know, panpsychic concepts of God or whatever, like that's kind of like more of a gray area. So yeah, it just have to be specific with these things.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll just get to my talking. I've already told, like last time, me and Johnny Angel, we were talking, and you know, I'm not from here. I'm from Ethiopia, and you know, in Ethiopia there was a prime minister. He did not believe in God. He used to say that there is no God. So he used to, you know, all over the country, you know, killing lots and lots of people, burning down churches. He killed 1.4 million people during the communist era of Ethiopia. So
you're talking about President Negasso Gidada?
No.
There's no way you knew that.
Who are we
You
talking
looked that
about?
up.
Who are we talking about? What's the name of this person?
Wait, no, wait. It doesn't even matter. Wait, what are you saying, Slave of Christ? Are you saying so there was one dude that was an atheist and he did some bad stuff, therefore all atheists are immoral? Like, what's the argument here?
No, he's not. No. He's not just atheist. He was killing people because they have like.
Hold on, Slave of Christ. If you're moving around right now, or if you're on speakerphone, we need you to be in one location and also not on speakerphone because your audio is all over the place.
Yep.
Okay, I think it's better now, right?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Please continue.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so this guy, I kind of like laugh when American atheists say that Christians have killed this and done this, but they don't understand what atheist leaders have like done in history, and when they have power, how much evil they could be. Because and I think deep in the heart of atheism, there is no sin. Because you could do, there is no supernatural force that is dictating and prescribing any kind of what do you say? There's no right or wrong objectively. So it's just like I think when you say that you don't believe there is no deity, I immediately assume that you don't have moral values.
Why?
Because there's no right or wrong in your worldview.
Why?
Because you said there's no deity.
Okay, but what does it have to do with moral values?
What's the connection?
Because moral inherently in the idea of empathy, in the idea of compassion, it's a religious idea. It's a
really so
idea.
empathy. You can't. Idea. In other words, you can't have empathy unless you believe in God.
No, there are a lot of people who have empathy who are atheists and secular people.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it sounds like it has nothing to do with God.
There's a but in there. There's always a but.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
Not like B-U-T, double T. It's more of B-U-T. So they are stealing this. So atheists, they use this trick where they're probably not convinced that there is no deity, and when it comes to quick questions that they have to answer, whether I think is morally correct or wrong, they steal the idea from religion. They pretend that it's a secular idea, but it's not a secular idea. It is stolen from somewhere else.
Interesting. That's a very interesting observation. I completely disagree. With everything you've just said.
Every single thing you just said was wrong.
Yeah, let's break this down. So, atheists stole the idea of being compassionate to people from religious people. Yeah. And you know this because why?
Okay. So, how I know this is if me and Dan, we were walking down the street and we saw someone who is in calamity or someone who's oppressed, I will say that since they are created in the image of God, I have a justification to feel sad about that person. Where Dan will just say, I just feel empathy because I feel empathy. It's more of like a circular reasoning that I think.
Okay. It's interesting because this is the second time you've spoken for me tonight, and you've been both wrong in both instances. I think if I saw somebody struggling in need, I'm going to say, hey, that's a person who needs help, and I'm going to help them because I'm also a person, and I know what it's like to struggle. So I think that's a good enough reason. Yeah, is it an objective reason? Maybe not. Why do I need objective morality?
I'm not saying that morality is objective.
Okay.
That's not my belief, right? So, by the way, atheism is also very dogmatic when it comes to, let's say, like, you know.
Well, let's take it. Let's go one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Why can I not?
Okay.
Why is empathy exclusive to you and not me? Why do I not have access to it without being considered stealing?
Because empathy and compassion is we share empathy and compassion from a divine source. So when God created us, he breathed into us his nature, which is love and compassion.
Let's say that's true. Let's say that's true. We get our empathy from a divine.
You agree that
I don't agree. But let's say it's true. Let's say it's true.
You said it's true.
I'm going to mute you because
agree.
I gotta make my point here. Let's say it's true. Let's say we get our source from a divine entity. We get our empathy and our compassion from a divine entity, and I just deny the source. Does that mean I'm stealing? What do you mean? Does that mean I'm still not capable? I don't understand what the argument is. It seems like even if I denied the source of it, I still have access to empathy and compassion. I think that's obviously evident. I think it's also evident that people with various belief systems do cruel and unjust things. Okay, sure, people are selfish. I don't care. So what? What does that have to do with me or you? Why am I suddenly compared to the guy that killed 1.4 million people because he also doesn't believe in the Christian God? There's a lot of people that don't believe in the Christian God. Like, I don't know why that means I have to be, compared to someone who's committed genocide.
So even though they don't believe in Christian God, they believe in different gods, right? So they're still atheists in that category.
No, I mean, no. If you're an atheist, you don't believe in any gods. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is there are religious people and these people who don't believe in the Christian God.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So, all over the place. And they kill millions of people in history.
Yeah. But they're also capable of empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
And they don't believe in the Christian God.
They have a shared humanity. Yeah. They overcome their indoctrination, the rules that their religion tells them to crush their opponents. They overcome it. And they say, I'm not going to kill today because that seems wrong.
Yeah.
But the reason we think that killing is bad is because of what? Because there is a law and commandment that is deep in our hearts.
I think that's the reason why you think it's wrong. I don't think that's the reason why I think it's wrong.
Yeah. It's not the reason I think it's wrong. Yeah. On some level, I don't kill because I don't want to go to prison. I don't think I get away with it.
That's one thing.
And on the other one is that I don't want to have the guilt of having taken away the one life that a person had.
Yeah.
Also, I don't have any reason to kill anybody. Like, there's some people I really, really don't like, don't like, and I don't want to kill them. In fact, if I killed them, that would put them out of their misery of being alive every day. And also, I don't want others to kill me. And by killing one person, I would contribute to a society in some way where killing is the norm, and I might be in someone else's sights. So no, thank you. Is that enough reasons for you?
Yeah.
Slave of Christ.
I think it's purely circular, what you just said. I don't want to kill because I don't want to kill because I don't want to kill.
No, that's not what I said. I don't want to kill because I don't want to be killed. I don't want to kill because I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to kill because I do not want guilt. That's not circular at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be honest, slave of Christ, and acknowledge what I said are legitimate reasons for not what slave of Christ. Acknowledge. Say, you're right, Johnny. Those are legitimate reasons for not wanting to kill people that are independent of a belief in God. Say, I acknowledge you're correct, Johnny.
You are correct, Johnny. So
thank you so much.
Damn. Got him to sign on the line that says
you're an atheist, no, slave of Christ.
Okay.
You check the box, baby.
Okay. So do you think that adultery is sin, or do you think adultery is wrong? Because I have a lot of examples that proves that your worldview is inherently immoral. Just because you want,
you're asking a million things here. First of all, we don't sin and wrong, not the same thing, right? Sin is a made up thing, wrongness is also a made up thing, but I'm a moral anti-realist. Not other atheists might agree with that. Okay. But point is, right? Sin is a Christian concept. I don't believe in Christianity, therefore I don't believe in sin. But I can still think an action is wrong, independent of what Christians think, right? So, like, is cheating on a loved one without their consent? I mean, that's what cheating is, right? Doing something without their consent. Yes, I think that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know how you can say my worldview is immoral because I account for that. I don't know. That's it, right? What else?
Yeah.
Is that your best example?
I disagree. I disagree that sin is a Christian concept, because even before Christians were here, the concept of sin, like in the Old Testament, existed.
That's true. You're right. It is
Christians
also a
who
Jewish
believed in
concept,
Christ.
but it's not a
So
like
it's a
it's not a
theistic
universally
concept,
recognized concept.
Sin is a theistic concept. We
Yeah.
will grant you that, slave
Yeah.
of Christ.
Yeah.
So if that is a theistic concept in your worldview, there is no alternative judgment that happens after we die. So anything that we do in the world, we're not being held accountable.
Oh my God, slave of Christ. How am I not being held accountable? If I commit murder or some other stupid crime that shouldn't be taking place, right? If I commit an act against someone and then I am forced to face the actual consequences of that, like I go to prison and I live in a freaking box for the rest of my life, or I get put to death, how is that not a consequence? An atheist worldview calls for there to be real, not imaginary, wishful consequences.
Yeah.
Where a Hitler who asks for forgiveness just before he, pulls the trigger, goes for eternal paradise. We don't have a get out of hell free card. We don't have an eternal paradise card. We have to make right in this world, or that's it.
That's true. Johnny pointed out a good point. It's actually the Christian worldview that avoids consequences, because again, you can literally be Hitler and say, "Oh, actually, I'm going to ask for forgiveness for all this," and not face any consequences for that. I mean, depending on your theology.
Sure,
but
sure.
That's upon the election of God. So how we are saved is by God's election. So even though you do whatever you want to do, or you've done things that are unlawful to God or to the law of God, it's upon the election of God and not yours.
In other words, if you're one of God's special boys and girls, you get a get out of jail free card, and you don't even get anything to deserve it. Yes. That's literally what it is. God gets to pick and choose who gets to go to heaven, despite how shitty of a person it is. Is that right?
No, because the price has been made.
What price?
Like
what price has been paid?
The person, right?
What price has been paid by the person who's killed another person and then asked God for forgiveness? What price has been paid?
Christ paid for that specific sin, right?
How?
Really? How? What happened? What did they do?
What happened?
Jesus died on a cross, and so suddenly that guy that murdered somebody is okay? Paul the Apostle was a murderer, right? Or he at least accosted others in the murder of Christians, right? So now he's just okay because he just preaches the gospel. Is that how it works?
We all deserve death, right? So we all are worthy of death.
No, we don't all deserve death.
Even if that's true, it sounds like we don't pay the price for the consequences. Somebody else does.
No, Christ already paid the
right. So the murderer doesn't actually pay the price.
Oh gosh, you're right. The murderer doesn't pay the price. They get away with it.
Yes,
because Jesus done it.
Okay,
right.
So there's no consequences. You're right, slave of Christ. There are no consequences. You don't have to be morally responsible in Christianity. Wow, I never thought of it that way.
No, I'm not saying that you don't have to be a moral or a good person. What I'm saying is, let's say you go to the court, right? So there's a Johnny P. Angel, and they're going to try to. This is just an example. So if they say that you have break the law and there's a sufficient evidence that you have done those things, and let's say that the court grants you to have forgiveness, right? And you said, no, I don't receive the forgiveness. I don't receive the forgiveness because I don't love the judge, right? So that is what you guys are doing, where the forgiveness is available for the sins that we commit as human, because human beings are fallen. And
slave of Christ. Your worldview is exceptionally sad to me. You think that people deserve death. I think that
I said all of us deserve death.
Oh yes, God!
Even animals, because
that's literally what he just said.
Johnny, here's what you said. Yeah. No, none of us deserve death. Death comes, but that's not how court works, slave of Christ. I don't know why you have this obsession, and I recognize you under a different name. I don't really care what name you call yourself, but you have this obsession with death, punishment, dying, being washed in the blood of sacrificial lambs. The fact is, it makes no sense that Jesus died so that my sins are somehow forgiven. If I slapped you in the face, Dan can't forgive me. You would have to forgive me. Otherwise, it's an empty gesture. It's nonsense. The whole system is bogus. So, anyway.
No.
Last.
It's it. Slave of Christ. That's all we got for the call today. I think we got to move on. We're getting towards the end of the show, so I am going to let you go. I do appreciate you calling in. But yeah, we have a lot of calls today, folks, and I'm so. We went a little long in this first one. Johnny, I really wanted Johnny to give his legal expertise, and boy did he ever.
Nice.
So really, John, listen. Ever since Johnny has known about the concept of truth wanted, he has wanted us to have sovereign citizen conversations, and I fulfilled a fantasy today for Johnny. I don't know if it's a sexual one, but regardless of its nature, it has been fulfilled. So I'm glad I could do that for you, Johnny, as a friend.
Yeah,
that's what friends are for, right? Fulfilling each other's sexual fantasies. With that, let's try to get one more call in. I want to try to at least get one more if we have time. Maybe another one. I don't know. I'm going to try to talk again to the ultimated Judeo-Christian. I think that's supposed to say ultimate Judeo-Christian. That might have been a typo. Let me know. Caller, you are on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Yes, firstly, this is YouTuber Ultimated Judeo-Christian.
Okay, that was right then.
Are you able?
Yes, we can hear you. How's it going?
Yes.
Are you gonna ask us if we can destroy your biblical Christological God, and what are thine responses? Is that what you're gonna ask? Just asking.
Maybe not right off the bat.
But that's where you were going.
I don't know where this is leading to. I may ask that question, but primarily I'm here to meta-ontologically prove Judeo-Christian / biblical epistemology with premise 1, premise 2, and conclusion, syllogistically.
Oh,
so
man.
Premise 1.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Blast from the past. How long has it been since you've called into this show biblically? Oh, that's so great. That's awesome. I'm so happy right now. Please go ahead.
Come on, ride the train.
Yes.
Hey, ride it. Yeah, let's do it.
Premise 1, ontologically, revealingly, ultimate C, meta epistemically references creation for epistemologism.
Okay, Legos.
I actually changed my mind. I actually don't know if I want to have this conversation anymore.
Yeah.
Johnny, what do you think?
Oh,
vote no. Vote Nix. Vote Nix.
I'm pumpkining out on this one.
Okay. All right. I'm jumping out of this one too. I'm letting you go. Sorry, ultimated Judeo-Christian. I'm not interested. I never do that. I'm never like, no, thank you after I take it, but I'm suddenly not interested.
Dan, I'm with you. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. any way you want it. Yeah.
Listen, I've had enough of my definition calls today. Okay, like I'm kind of done on that front. So I am going to let that one go. Let's get another caller instead, folks.
This is a great show. This is a great show. Truth wanted.
What a
Tune
fantastic.
in.
I don't even want the truth anymore. I've just denied it. It's sad. It's sad that I've lost my way, but that's where I'm at tonight. So that's okay. We're moving on. Let's wrap this up with somebody else here. Let's talk to Kane. Kane, who's calling in from Alabama. Kane, we're talking to you tonight. Congratulations, Kane. Thanks so much for waiting on the line. You're live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hey, Johnny and Dan. What I'm calling about is indoctrination, and I define two different types of indoctrination. One type is active, and by that I mean you take part in your own indoctrination through Bible study and participating in group prayer and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the other type of indoctrination is what I call passive indoctrination. This is indoctrination, being indoctrinated by being around ubiquitous religious iconography all your life, and around people that you believe that everybody believes.
Okay.
That's the situation I was in my youth, in a younger part of my life.
Yeah.
I believed everybody believed in the God.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
okay.
My indoctrination is the type I call passive. And because of that, and because of I was raised up in a dysfunctional family,
mm-hmm.
I do not believe that a lot of people that profess belief do actually believe. And this includes a lot of pastors.
Sure.
And a lot of people this is the church community.
Sure. I think that's true for any religious group, but yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I talk of people believing, I'm saying they profess to believe.
Sure.
And I want to know how you felt about the different kinds of indoctrination, and whether you think they would leave people like me with the inability to believe, and also leave me in a position where I don't believe that a lot of people that profess to believe do.
Yeah. So I don't like the word indoctrination. I don't use it a whole lot. And the reason why is because indoctrination is a tricky word, because technically on some level, by some definitions, you could say a kindergarten teacher who's teaching a kid how to count and their ABCs is indoctrination, because they're teaching them beliefs that they're not fully sufficient enough to question, right? So like, yeah, on some level, like that's indoctrination, but that's like kind of commonly accepted indoctrination. Yeah. Like we actually think that's kind of good indoctrination. Most of us would say, right? Like we want our kids to be able to know their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, right? But like other kinds of indoctrination are basically like, what's the socially unacceptable belief to have? Like Scientology, for example. If you grew up in a Scientology family, I think most Americans will say, well, yeah, you were indoctrinated, right? Because that's not the traditional belief system. But like for most Americans, I think they'd also say that like mainstream branches of Christianity, for some reason, isn't indoctrination, because it's kind of just the main religion in this country. It's the most generally accepted religion. So this is where I would depart with everyone else, right? I would agree with you in saying that, like, yeah, that is indoctrination, because it is beliefs that when critically applied would probably not pass as well. Although there are some people who are arguably critical and still have a God belief. I mean, there's certainly people with college degrees and in advanced fields of study that do have God's belief. I will grant that. But for a lot of people who, like us, who really look at this issue and study it and didn't really have a choice when they were children to accept those beliefs, yeah, I had to kind of accept it uncritically. So indoctrination is kind of a tricky word, and I don't know what sociologists have to say about it. I don't know if there's like scholarship on and how it's used. I imagine it's probably avoided for the most part, but maybe there's some places out there that really use it. But yeah, indoctrination also kind of has kind of cultural baggage too, because again, what's indoctrination for some is just going to be acceptance of normal quote unquote beliefs for others. So yeah, tricky word. Johnny, what do you think?
As you were talking and I was listening to everything that you said, of course, because you're objectively Dan.
That's right.
I was also looking up the definition of indoctrination. I think you stumbled.
Did you go? I'm sorry, but did you go to the FFA's definition of indoctrination, or did you go to the United States Constitution?
Yeah, the IRS
penal code
form.
or the IRS. Okay, just
I went to dictionary.com.
Okay,
which as we all know
is legally binding.
Yeah. But it has two words. There's an archaic definition of teaching or instruction, and like you said, you want to indoctrinate, teach. You want to instruct people on how to do certain tasks, learn certain skills. That's great. We all do it. We all do it. We all need it. But that's the archaic term. I think in the last who knows how long it's been defined more regularly as the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. The example given, prisoners are subjected to brainwashing, indoctrination, and punishment. All horrible things. The thing that we're all about, I know you are, Dan, and I know I like to think I try to be, is not to have anyone accept anything that we say uncritically. Question it. We're not authorities. We're having a conversation trying to get at it. And so I think to the extent that there are, to get back to what the caller was talking about, are there groups, was it socioeconomic groups? Is there a person's social background affect their ability to be indoctrinated? I would think to the extent that their background encourages or discourages, and how they encourage or discourage critical thinking skills, reasoning skills, logic, rhetorical capabilities. So I don't know if any one group, economically, socially, racially, whatever that means, national origin, gender wise, has an advantage over that. I do know that cis white het Western guys seem to have the leisure, the free time and amount of 9 lives, you might say, the forgiveness to be able to make those mistakes without great consequence more often than people in other groups. Yeah. So, particularly,
Well, I was just going to add, right? I mean, I think across the board, I don't think it's too controversial to say, if you look at, Western countries in particular, compared to the rest of the world, you see that the more democratic a nation is, the higher average levels of income a nation has, the less likely they are to be religious, right? With the US being that very, very notable exception, this seems to be a general trend. And I think there's a reason for that too, right? I think religion obviously plays a social function in people's lives. It's more than just a philosophical set of beliefs, right? It is a category of thought, but it's also a social institution in a lot of people's lives. Some people get their food from their local church. Some people get their friends and family from part of their church, right? It's kind of plays this bigger role in more than just a philosophical concept of belief, which I think you mentioned came by saying there's people who profess a belief. And you're right. I think there's some that maybe if they really thought about it, probably wouldn't be as convinced, but the convenience of religion is there and it doesn't bother them to not have the belief, right? So for me, it does bother me, which is why I'm here now. But for some people, it just doesn't even matter. It's just yeah, I'm a Christian, but it's they don't even go to church. It's just a social convention that they follow, right? So yeah, it's kind of complicated. But are people who are in less socially economically advantaged nations or groups going to be more likely to receive beliefs uncritically? I think that's true. Yeah. But I don't think that's I don't know. I don't think that's a huge observation. Do you think that's you think that's a controversial statement, Johnny? I don't know. You are muted right now, my friend.
Some would say, thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
And I would say, thanks, Dan. I think the very way that people learn, it's a necessity. Actually, people, I would say all animals probably, they learn from their parents. And all animals, some of them are just abandoned and they little clockwork machines, but certainly humans. We are little sponges when we are little, and we absorb, we just listen. It's not good for little children to critically evaluate whether or not they should put their hand on the stove or they should walk off of a staircase, right? We teach children at certain ages up to a certain point to just listen to what I'm saying. Okay. Because I'm keeping you alive. And then and it's a spectrum. As they get a little bit older, good parents, I think most parents teach their children to exercise their autonomy, to exercise their critical thinking skills and decide for themselves. And those parents who do a really good job of it, they have kids who can function quite well in the world and they can operate independently. But the problem is that some of those lessons it's like we stop teaching about Santa Claus, but we a lot of times never stop teaching about Genghis Claus, Jesus. And so those issues never are welcomed into the category of things that we question. In fact, it's discouraged. And that's, I think, the problem. And I don't know how that falls down the demographic lines.
There you go, Kane. A lot of our thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah.
I follow what you're saying. I just think that indoctrination is well. Let me just say this: the organized religion knows that you need to indoctrinate kids early.
Yep.
So that's why there's always a push to get everything they can into public schools.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's just like, I mean, that's, I mean, come on. How many debates are happening in this country right now over what's being taught in public schools? And people think that kindergartners are learning like critical race theory, right? Like they don't even know what's happening in schools right now. It's ridiculous. Yeah. There's obviously a power in institutionalizing that early education, right? It's the reason why we have such a whitewashed version of our world history, in particular American history, in the U.S. public school systems. Johnny, when you were in school, did you learn that the Civil War was not about slavery? Actually, it was actually about states' rights.
No, man,
because
I'm from the North.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't. I heard it was about states' rights. Okay.
The states' right to what, Dan?
Exactly.
The states.
The point is, right? Yeah, you're right. That definitely does happen, and obviously, religious institutions are doing like that's not even a question. It's happening right now. Like it's gonna keep happening, and it's why we're here. It's one of the reasons why the ACA exists, so we can talk about this stuff and say,
Can I ask?
This is shit.
Can I ask Kane? Kane, do you have children in your life?
I have 2 children.
Okay.
And 4 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
Oh, I love it. So Kane, you could be grandpa, I don't know, grandpa reason, right? You could be like the source in those kids' lives to ask them little riddles, little questions. I'm sure you already do something like that because this is on your mind, but find ways of teaching them to navigate the difficult aspects of life. Of course, your grandkids and your kids might want to hit you over the head with a stick if you cause them to question bedtime, but there's lots of ways that on a small level you can affect so many. And I'm not telling you that you don't think this, but you can improve the world just with that. That alone makes things a lot better for those kids and for all the rest of us who will be living with those kids as they grow up and they take over. They take over the future.
Amen. Amen, Johnny. Amen. Kane, last thoughts before we let you go.
Well, unfortunately, they have a grandmother that's a Christian.
Yeah.
So she's trying to indoctrinate them the other way.
Sure.
Well, and hey, you just got to keep fighting the good fight, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, your goal isn't to make your kids atheist, right? Yeah. Your goal is to teach them critical thinking skills, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel this way, Kane, but if I ever had a child and they decide they want to be a Christian, I would think that's not great. But if they're going to be loving and compassionate and their interpretation of Christianity is, oh, I'm actually going to do the best for all human beings, black, white, gay, straight, like whatever. And like, that's what they take away from it. I would rather live in that world. I would rather live in a world where people are choosing to interpret their religion as inspiration for compassion than a dogmatic set of ideals that nobody can live up to or should live up to. That's fine. But you can only do so much, right? And you just being there and you just talking about it, that's good. That's a good thing.
You're the counterpoint, Kane. You're the counterpoint to those kids' education, right? So that's not a bad place to be.
Kane, we do have to let you go because we are running out of time with the show. But I do appreciate you calling in. And folks at home, thank you so much for watching this particularly long episode of Truth Wanted. We have to make it long because Johnny P. Angel is here in the building. Rock star as he is. If you want to check out more of Johnny P. Angel, where should they go, Johnny P. Angel?
You can find me on the Atheist Experience.
Yeah. And Talk Heathen.
And
as
Talk
well.
Heathen. I float around.
You float around. You're all over the place. You're
I'm
like a
all
virus that people can't stop catching.
Yeah, I'm airborne.
Airborne.
At this point.
That's what they call it. Johnny Airborne is what they say around the building. Don't tell him that. He doesn't like it.
Huh?
Anyway, folks, I'm Objectively Dan. This has been an episode of Truth Wanted, the live call-in show that happens every single week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time. Thank you to everybody who helps support the show in all your various ways. We love that you do it. If you want to support it more, you can, of course, go to that Patreon and go there. We aren't doing the after show tonight, but we are going to tell you again about the prompt. The prompt this week for the comments is: the secret to any good conspiracy is blank. Okay, so leave your comments down below. We will read the top 3 for next week. And of course, I always have to thank the wonderful, awesome, stupendous, amazing crew that helps make this show happen every single week and who are helping us out behind the scenes. And they'll get to that crew cam in just a second so that we can thank them. But even if we can't see them, we know them in spirit. And that's what's important. And they're telling me that there is no crew cam, but we believe by faith, Johnny. We do not see with our eyes.
We know them by their works,
We know them by their works. We
Yeah.
know them in our hearts.
Yeah.
And we thank them for that. Thank you, crew, for
you.
help making the show happen. Awesome. And Johnny, before we go, do you have any words of wisdom? I haven't asked a guest for a words of wisdom in a long time, but what's your words of wisdom for today?
You need to have a I don't have any words of wisdom.
No?
This is some schmuck. Try to have a balanced life.
Yeah.
Yeah, have fun, do what you got to do good stuff for yourself and others.
Don't sign any paperwork without doing some Google searches.
Don't click on those boxes, people.
Don't click on those boxes.
You don't know
That's
what rights you're giving up, okay?
Gotta know your rights. Know your rights. All right, everybody, this has been another episode of Truth Wanted. I'm Objectively Dan. Remember to always keep wanting the truth, and I'll see you next time.
Watch The Non-Prophets and join the hosts in the live chat Sundays at 3 p.m. Central between the Atheist Experience and Talk Heathen. Visit tiny.cc/YTNP.